we'd be up, up and Adam, and da 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 da, da da scoop bop a dee bop. Da 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 ba 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 da ba. Almost forgot to install this. We need to do that really quick, really quick, really slick, and really quick. Scoop bop, beat a bop bop, shoot a bada bada, beat a bop, bada bop bop. Ba da 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 da. What's going on? Chris Bushman back again for another stream, and I did my own intro music for that because this is the lazy stream that I've been doing a lot more of lately, but it gets me to work on the computers a little bit, I suppose. It's nice downtime. And what we're looking at today is we're going to be upgrading the Windows 98 machine again. This time a new processor. Currently we have a Pentium 2 at 350 megahertz sitting in the box. I think it has a 100 megahertz frontside bus. And we're going to upgrade to this big kahuna, which is another Pentium 2, but this is at a 450 megahertz. So we go up 100 megahertz for our total clock speed. Very cool. But per some suggestions and such, we should probably benchmark this before we upgrade, just to get an idea of what kind of performance changes we should expect going into this. So that being said, I was like, well, you know what? We can run some benchmarks. We can see what's going on. So I had to sort of come up with what we could actually do for benchmarks. I never really benchmarked too much in Windows 98 before. I've done some stuff with XP, nothing for DOS, and then some stuff like Windows 7, but never really looked at Windows 98 for some good examples, especially with hardware this old and I would say this low powered. So what we have on the docket today, we're going to be benchmarking with, as you see me installing right now, 3D Mark 2001. That should be something that will push the hardware a reasonable amount. I don't expect to see great results from this benchmark, but it'll at least give us a good idea of what we're looking at right now for the machine before upgrading the CPU. Also, it will show off some of the support we have for the GPU I have in the box, which is significantly better than what most of the software is going to be requiring. Right now I'm assuming the CPU for the most part is going to be our bottleneck. So we have 3D Mark. We're also going to be looking at, let's see if I have the cases out. I probably don't for most of these, but okay. Whatever's there. Yeah. So second benchmark is going to be with Turok Dinosaur Hunter on Windows 95. It actually has a benchmark tool called T-Mark. And so it runs through a series of time demos. Once it goes through the whole routine, it gives us the average frames per second. As it's running, we'll also be able to see the current frames per second it's running at. And then the cumulative average. So you get, like, at the top, cumulative average, last run of the set of time demos, and then current frames per second. So we should expect that with Turok Dinosaur Hunter. This is going to be a good look at the machine because in theory it leverages more of the GPU than anything else. However, we're also using a GPU that came out well after this game, so we don't have any specific drivers or recognition of that card beyond being some sort of generic 3D or direct 3D card. This game is also something that leverages the Glide API very nicely, so that's something else we don't get to take advantage of here, but nevertheless we can see how a CPU change will affect a game like that, not completely leveraging the GPU that's under the hood right now. Also, you'll notice I have some like my MS prompt windows sort of ready to go for some of this. Quake 2 will be the next demo. That's going to be more of a higher threshold demo to test the computer at. Again, it's going to be very CPU intensive, so I think we can see some good changes when we increase the processor speed here. And it just kind of runs through the quick demo of Quake 2 in general that you usually see when you start up the game. That's the demo we're going to be seeing there. And then finally, which I got actually... Oh man, come on, mouse cursor, you're going slow, dude. What the heck? I realized Install Shield was that that hard on you. And I actually gotta just get the legacy code for this real quick. Thanks, Future Mark, for that. Looking at 7Q and 2 TSL JR ESR DD L3. And again, this is the provided CD key that Future Mark has for its legacy benchmark tools, in this case 3D Mark 2001. Yes, now we know my registration code, which is available on the browser everywhere. And finally, we're going to be looking at, where's my other prompt at? There it is. Doom, running, loaded via the source loader Doom 95. We're going to run a benchmark on that with the time demo to get a frames per second reading as well. So we have some old, some new things to look at how this is going to run. I've ran all these benchmarks except for 3D Mark 2001 so far on this box, so I have no idea how that's actually going to run. But we'll find out. So let's go ahead and start 3D Mark 2001. Now I'm keeping those MS-DOS prompts up just to make it a little easier for me to jump in there and run the params. In theory, it should make it easier, I think. Also, actually, before we run this, I should... See, even it says Pentium 2 right in the front, so we're perfect. Let me show you what we're actually dealing with hardware here. That way you have a better idea of what we're actually benching. So again, like I said, we're only changing the CPU today. But, to give you a quick idea. Running Windows 98 2nd edition. Pentium 2 with 512 megs of RAM. For our video card, we're running an NVIDIA GeForce FX 5200. It's on the AGP slot. Part of it is this is also an AGP 2X slot. This card's usually rated for a 4X slot, I believe. So we are going to be, in theory, saturating that interface. So we're not getting the most out of that video card as is. Beyond that, we have a Yamaha OPL3 compatible ISA slot sound card, which works well with Windows, as you'll hear. It shouldn't impact performance too much, but we do have a dedicated sound card. We do have that. Then everything else sort of run the mill in terms of having a network adapter. I think it has some sort of Linksys network adapter. Yeah, a Linksys network adapter there with a dial-up adapter. And then your mouse, keyboard, stuff, whatever. But importantly, we know our RAM, we know our video card, we know our CPU, which is, again, the 350 megahertz Pentium 2. 100 hertz frames, 100 megahertz front-side bus. And actually, what I should be able to do here, just give you a few more details about the CPU before we jump into this. I think I have CPU Z on here. I should. I should have it on here. Pretty sure I have it on here. Yep. Yep. And again, get another look at the profile of what we have going on here. So yep, Pentium 2, slot 1 interface, 350 megahertz, 3.5 multiplier, hence 350 megahertz. Cache, we have a 16 kilobyte level 1 cache, a 16 kilobyte, or sorry, a 512 kilobyte level 2 cache. Our main board, again, is a Dell board based on an Intel chipset, which also means I might be able to reflash this board if I really want to. I might look into that, see if I can find any Intel drivers on that, kind of what I did with the XP machine. That way I might be able to use my Pentium 3 at some point, underclock it on this board. I might be able to even switch the front side bus depending on what we have going on. Again, we have 512 megs of SD RAM. Pretty standard low-key RAM here. And then our actual FX 5200. And it's got 128 megabytes of video memory. Again, it's overkill for a lot of these games, but we're not even able to take a full advantage of it because of the AGP slot we have. With all that being said, we jump into 3D Mark 2001, and we're going to just run the benchmark and see what happens. So let's rock and roll. Now let's see if I can switch it over to a VGA. And that should at least make it a little more sane to look at. So far, not too bad. It's actually performing a bit better than I expected. It's probably able to take advantage of the newer GPU, or some of the 3D rendering at least. Again, saturating the slot, but games like Turok may not be able to take advantage of it because it's expecting specific cards, might be doing specific API stuff with the cards, especially with the Glide compatible video cards. Otherwise, you might have very basic support for Direct 3D. That's a lot of assumptions, but that even when I go to set up Turok, it's like, well, I can't find your card, so pick out from the list, and they're all like a bunch of old cards it has in the list. There we go. Turn on the anti-aliasing and all of that. Look at this chug, chug, chug. Ooh. Falcon Northwest. Falcon Northwest. I'm trying to think of what Falcon Northwest is. I do not remember Falcon Northwest. That does not sound familiar to me at all. What is Falcon Northwest, sir? Why should I be remembering this? They were a PC manufacturer that built high-end PCs. They advertised on 3D Mark. Man, I do not remember them at all. I mean, I believe it. Okay. Thanks for the insight there. Yeah, I do not remember them at all. I may have never paid attention, to be honest. At least the third and fourth demo aren't doing too bad. So far. There's probably a lot less AA going on and things like that. So I guess, does that mean that, is Falcon Northwest still around? That's question one. Question two, can I build me a Windows 2000 gaming rig? We're getting into high detail soon. Or some low detail stuff, okay. I don't think they are, okay. I remember this benchmark specifically quite a bit, because I believe Dave had used this before for some of his systems. This was the 3D Mark I was actually much more familiar with. I thought it was 3D Mark 2000 at first, that's why I chose it for the XP benchmarks. But when I found out that wasn't the case, I'm like, well, there goes that nostalgia trip a little bit. This, though, I remember seeing 3D Mark 2001 quite a bit. So this is much more in line with what I know of in terms of what software we use to benchmark computers. Old man things. Now we're going to see the lobby chug, I believe. Yeah, it's chugging. It was running. I remember The Matrix. That movie was so cool. Are they? We may have to buy a system from Falcon Northwest. That might have to happen. What? That is... Holy cow. Let's see what's going on with this. I hope they're not doing just business computers now. I hope they're doing enthusiast stuff still. Oh, yes, high end. Oh, you're speaking my language. And their site is not that bad at all. Oh, they have frag boxes still, dude. Okay. Okay. Look at their desktops, dude. It looks like you have to contact their sales department to actually buy any of these. That's really cool. Oh. Oh, man. That might have to happen. That whole nostalgia... Well, not nostalgia trip for me, because again, I didn't recognize them, but... Now you're saying there's old man gaming companies still around making high-end gaming PCs. I'm gonna have to try to get like a frag box or something for that. That'd be pretty cool. Or actually, I mean, if I could work something out in the future, I do want to build a... I remember Andy having a frag box, and that was a thing. Was that like a specific Falcon thing? I thought that was just like a branding for like mini ATX case form factors and things of that nature. But was that like specifically like a frag designation for those boxes? Like when I saw the Falcon emblem, right? Well, originally he was trying to build something similar to a frag box, I believe, because we had seen that like on shows and such. Okay. So yes, I remember frag box. So apparently I did remember Falcon in some regard. So that's still legit, right? But that might be kind of cool to try to like just to get a... I'm not surprised. They are probably very high-end systems. But I was thinking that might be good to look for in the future for a dedicated streaming box instead of going around building one myself. Then I can just have like a stylized case and such, because I've never really had that beyond buying like the used Alienware. But that might work very well to have like a NVIDIA chipset that OBS can take advantage of for rendering, and just have a dedicated box for streaming. And I can have the Windows 7 machine used, the current Windows 7 machine used for just Windows 7 gaming, VR gaming, things like that, and not have to worry about running all that in the same box. That might be a way to go. That might be very cool. I wonder what they put in their see, there you can just visit them, dude. Like, what's up? What's up, Falcon? How you guys doing? It'd be really neat if they made like a high-end frag box that could do that kind of streaming stuff. Like, I know with what I need right now is... I mean, I have an 8-core AMD right now, but I need something that's just a little more powerful to do 1080p, 60 frames. Falcon meat. Makes sense. High performance, high protein. Makes sense. I can get behind that. Look at that O-chin. The Pentium 2 and this video card combo are not doing too bad. Okay. Yeah, I was accessing the mobile site, and that did not have as many options, at least as far as I could tell from the site. And so maybe the desktop site is where it's at to check out this stuff. I'll have to do some curious shopping around there, just seeing what's going on. You got fish. You got boats. Yeah. Point sprites. I remember that horse. I remember that horse. Not sure why my cursor came up. But I was like, point sprites. Cursor came up. Gotta load up that test. Look at that pretty image. Pretty nice. I assume it's also benching how long it takes to actually load up the image in memory and things like that. As the people run in fear. Oh, now we're up to 724 or 768, which is going to completely jack up this view, by the way. Oh, maybe not. I guess this is all at 1024 by 768. I probably should have looked at that ahead of time. So we adjusted, we're good. Not going to mess up your view of the wonderful benchmarks that we see here. Get that image. Boom, look at that game image. Boom. All right. So what we clock in at here? I'm going to get a notepad out for this. Dude, I still feel cool running it. I don't know what you're talking about. So we got ourselves my fancy editor here. Why I got 9? What? Let's try 28. So we got our proc. We got 3D mark. 2K1, we got Turok, we got Doom, we got Quake 2. This is with the P2, P50. This is with the P2, 450. So those crazy results. That awesome table there. So we got 2002 3D marks. That's our first result. How about them apples? Okay, let's just quickly get this on the desktop. Save it. Cool. Good deal. That actually ran better than I was expecting. There you go. Alright, so next we're going to run Turok, which how we run this is most of these games have command line options you can run, which is how I want to run the majority of these, because a lot of the benchmarks and time demos, things like that, aren't really accessible in the other interfaces. I'm gonna run all drivers on this. I don't know if this is how many times it runs the game demos itself per driver. I wasn't able to find too many flags when I quickly looked up the benchmark, but we'll just do once through of all of the time demos, get our average, and that's what will go up in our benchmark here. So let's go ahead and run it. And there's audio. Sound, maybe a little bit most of sound here. Watching this will make you want to play Turok, because it looks at a lot of cool levels later on. I'm like, this looks so good. What? And again, you'll see in the upper left corner is the cumulative average we have going through these various time demos. The middle is going to be the last set of time demos ran and what the average FPS was. Of course, this is the first time running it. That's 0.0. Then the upper right figure is the current frames per second. $23,000 frag box. Sold. Let's go. That thing would have to get so hot. Because I'm assuming it's got like some crazy Intel i7 chip in there, or maybe even a Threadripper at this point. If you get like workstation hardware underneath the hood, and then your GeForce 1080 Ti. All right. Cool. Going to stream some Splatoon, or going to stream some more Darksiders. What you thinking? Also, note how well it's this machine. I actually had not thought about installing Turok on the chips, or on the Windows 98 machine yet, which I have no idea why I didn't before. At the 1080. What card is it running then? Like, if it's $23,000, is it running a Titan X or something? Or it's like we're using other workstations GPUs. Is it a little loud? Oh damn, yeah it is. How's that? Is that a lot better? I didn't even. Well, I wasn't even looking at the bars there. That's my bad, dude. My bad. Sorry for making you deaf and then drowning myself out. Anyway, like I was saying, well, for one thing, so what kind of video card was that Fragbox config running then? Is that like a Titan X it's running, or other workstation stuff? Dual NVIDIA Quattros. Oh, yeah, so pretty much workstation cards. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So that worked great for like a VM thing if you want to do that. And have just like this little box for just like standing that up. I don't recognize this time demo from last time. I mean, I may not have been paying attention, but I don't think this one played last time. Huh. Anyway, I'm sure. Oh, of course, yeah. I was trying to figure out, like, you know, will help you spend money, yeah. I was trying to figure out, like, if I were going to run a system with dual Quattro cards, because, I mean, they would have the configuration there for some reason, right? They're not going to just throw it up there, It's like, well, if I'm running something like that, that would have to be like a VM box or some sort of workstation thing that you can just spin off a bunch of instances on, because you got, like, your dual GPUs and probably one serious CPU on, if not multiple CPUs. And a small box like that, too, dude, that's got to be generating some heat, like mad. Unless you got water cooling, which of course would then increase the cost again. And then you just have a giant radiator somewhere. Anyway, so I actually had not thought about installing Turok 1 or Turok 2 on this box for I don't know what reason. I should have, because that fits right in the generation. Yeah, liquid cooling. It would just have to be, because there's like no space in that box. You got 2 GPUs at least. Yeah, dude, that'd be one hot box. But yeah, but the games fit within the time period of this system, again, being like, was it 97, 98 for Turok 1, Turok 2? And you have all kinds of crazy GPU support. So, like, I know, Sam, you're looking at doing some Voodoo cards in your soon future here. This would be a game that would work well for that, because it has wide support, so you're gonna be able to take advantage of that 3D acceleration and have some cool performance out of it. So, yeah. And as you can see, I mean, it doesn't run too bad as it is. Like, we're dipping like around 20 frames sometimes, but on the whole, you see the average at 40. I mean, it's not running too bad on this. Also, is that good volume, by the way? We're not too loud on the PC source now. Keep in mind also, this is running at 800 by 600, so which I think is default max for Turok. You could probably change settings to up the resolution, but I mean, honestly, it looks pretty good even 800 by 600. So volume's good. All right, cool. But like watching the time demo, it's like this just keeps getting better and better in terms of what things happen in the game. Jetpack dinosaurs that shoot guns at you. All kinds of stuff. This game is so neat. Suicide, dinosaurs, all that good stuff, man. So next PC Andy's getting a $23,000 frag box. And he ain't gonna regret it. He's not even gonna look back. So that's what we got. This will last me years. You should, dude. They run, well, the Turok 1 apparently runs really well. I was trying to run XP before, now it's giving me some issues. 98, dude, it's humming in 98. And they're cheap, too. And there's multiplayer. We can play TCP/IP multiplayer on Turok 2, I believe. So, there's also that. And look at all the cool weapons you get. Look at all the cool frames you get. Look at all the frames. One thing too with both these CPUs, well, I think it'll depend on if I can get some alternative BIOS on the motherboard. I might be able to do some overclocking if I wanted to. The Pentium 2s and Pentium 3s, slot 1 machines seem to take to overclocking fairly well. So if I wanted to try to get a little more out of it, I might be able to do that. But we'll have to see. It depends on board support more than anything else. The chips don't run super hot, so like the 350 I have in there has a heatsink and fan combo, but I mean you see with the 450 it has a giant heatsink standard. So I mean you got some options there. These aren't super power consuming, super hot chips we're talking about. Yeah. Is it just a large heatsink like that, or does it have a fan on it too? Bang! Bang! Feel the bang. Bullets. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of room to work with those chips. It's not like the Pentium 4s or the chips that have been messing with the XP machine where they just run so hot that you don't have a whole lot of room to work with, really, in terms of thermals. And even then, it's kind of spotty what kind of overclocking you actually get out of the CPU or the GPU for those generations. Okay, so that's the benchmark. We see we got 41.6. I'm going to do my elegant way of getting out of it. So, 41.6 frames per second. Very good. On to the next test. We're going to look at Doom 95. Now, this is a little different where it uses real ticks. No, M was a command again. I don't think it was just not M. I think that was me misspelling something there. Let me double check here. Yeah. So this should be just time demo. Oh, actually, no. I think there's a specific one for Doom 95. I think. Maybe not. Let's find out. Alright, I do have to have that other param in there. I found a lot of information on running the DOS benchmark for this, but not near as much for Doom 95. What we got there? And we'll go ahead and we'll keep it there, yeah. But I do like how these demos do have sound to them, unlike the 3D Mark stuff we were running before with XP Machine and other benchmarks. So it's just a little too quiet. We get a little bit of noise here. You also get a good view of what the invisibility effect looks like on the current hardware and slash the leveraging Doom 95. I know there's other source mods that... Okay, so how we calculate this. We get game ticks in real ticks. I'm pretty sure it's because of the direct 3D support or the lack of direct 3D support with the GPU here. That is my best guess. A combination of that and then the actual GPU I'm using. So, how do we calculate frames per second then? Because I had to look this up because I'm not very smart. Apparently, the formula we use to calculate frames per second is we take our game ticks divided by the real ticks to multiply the quotient by 35. So, we'll go into our handy dandy calculator. And we're going to take... In this case, we're taking game ticks, which is 1710, divided by real ticks, which is 1781. You get that. Multiply that by 35, because I think that's what the Doom is usually capped at, so I assume that's where that magic number comes in. We get 33. We'll just go ahead and round the 100th spot there. So we get 33.60 frames. And keep in mind that, you know, we have a lot of determining factors here of what actually, or a lot of factors here of what actually determines that frames per second. It's not just pure horsepower performance, especially with the kind of hardware and applications we're looking at. A lot of it's also going to be compatibility with hardware. I got a lot of weird generations going on here, particularly the GPU on this particular board. So that result doesn't super surprise me. I'm sure we would get a much different result in the DOS version, but I actually don't have a DOS launcher for Doom right now. I just have what came with the Collector's Edition, in this case, Doom 95. But that's fair enough. All we need to do is we want a comparison here, so that's fine and dandy. Finally, we're going to run Quake 2. Demo 1. Demo map. Demo1.dm1. Correct. Yeah, that too. It's going to be much more GPU or CPU dependent. That is also very correct. I think that should run the time demo right out the box. Of course, with Quake 2, which is using, I think it's using the software renderer right now, so it's probably hassling my CPU quite a bit here. We're gonna get a lot slowed down with that. Yes. I haven't messed with Quake 2 much on this system, so it's just leveraging whatever default is, which in this case is the software renderer. Yeah. Hence why also the textures are not near as dark or as smoothed out as you would see with an OpenGL renderer. I think there's a glide renderer for Quake 2 as well. Direct 3D support's kind of meh. There might be some third-party stuff or whatever. Hopefully this is actually running the time demo with frames per second at some point. If not, we'll have to run this again. Because I know last time I mistyped the parameters in command line, so I ended up having to do it in console in the game engine itself. But we'll find out here. No, haha, didn't do it. So, we'll have to enter the commands manually here. Womp womp, we get to watch it again. Womp womp. Dm1.dm2, we'll do dm2. What? You're crazy. Alright, we'll do it like this. That's the wrong mouse. We'll do it like this then. I'll run dm1 then, because whatever, guys. You crazy. Demo1, and we're going to do map demo 1.dm1. I didn't have the Quake 2 CD in last time. Why are you asking for it now? What the heck? Because I'm doing map instead of demo map? Let's try that. That might be the case here. I might be messing it up. Well, of course I'm messing it up, but... See, this is what happens when you do things on the fly. It's just a big mess. Oh, sorry. Time demo. Okay, so it is DM2 then. Which I don't have to reset that demo time again, but that's habit, I suppose. I'll call it that. There we go. That should do the trick. Just me being silly. Now we should actually get recorded frames per second on this. Which I suppose it makes sense too. I was probably trying to load, I guess, a full-fledged map that's not in a demo version of Quake 2 or something. I'll give it different parameters and flags I was feeding it. This game is really good. It really is. This is still my original copy. The one I bought back when Quake 2 came out. My first big box game. And I thought it was going to be like Quake 1, and it was not like Quake 1. Alright, we got 10.3 frames per second. Awesome. .3. Very good. Alright. So we're going to save this. We're going to assume Chris remembers all of these parameters. We're going to assume that. And we're going to shut this baby down. Let's go to camera only here. Oh yeah, I got to readjust that. We'll go to camera only here. I'm actually out of focus. I think I'm at... See, I'm having like reach. Something up a little bit there. I should. Nope. Too much. That's good enough. Anyway, so we'll go to this while I install our card. So hey, how about that? And actually, let me modify this a little bit too, because we can put the chat up still. I can do this. I can handle this. Let's go with window capture. Chat window, okay. And do a little bit of that, that, up. Perfect. Okay, so we have, I have to reach back here for machine as well, which means I want to reach around, all that stuff. We're now going to install our CPU. Good news is this should be a very easy install, because this being slot 1, it just slips right in. And we got it. Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? And my screwdrivers are in the other room. So, be right back. Did I leave them in here still? I might have. Where did Chris put his screwdrivers at? Why don't I just have them? I was just doing things with these. What the heck? Ah, here we are. Have in the pile. Got it. And I already had the screwdriver I need out anyway, so whatever. So let's go ahead and, how do I want to do this? I do want to show some of this. So let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to give this the old college try. Whoop. Just so you have a visual of the inside of the system here, because I haven't been able to do that too much yet. And I think that's kind of important. That's kind of cool. And two. So this is the case I have right now for my 98 machine. This is, again, like a $20 case. Get this mic over here. It was like a $20 case I picked up at Micro Center. So, you know, not a very expensive case, but it does the job for this kind of PC. And again, it wasn't a whole lot of money. I mean, you know it's cheap because it still uses screws to hold the side in, and also it's very thin metal. It also came with its own power supply, which this is like a 400 watt that it came with, but had all the actual inputs I needed for Molex and SATA. Let me get the inside of the box here. So this is the CPU we're replacing today. This is my Pentium 2 350 video card here, which is passively cooled. We have a Ethernet controller here, and then I have my sound card right on the bottom here. Also note some of my cable management I have going on here. There's some twist tie or some zip tie action. I had some more tucked back there before, but trying to do some stuff with a RAID controller, I had to cut off some of the zip strips. But here we are. And then our memory here, so on and so forth. But this is a Dell OEM board that we're messing with. And now we gotta put this bad boy in. So what I'm actually going to do first, before anything else, we're going to clean the cart. We're going to do an old-fashioned cart cleaning. The fan itself, let me check the... There's not really a good mounting hole for the fan on the heatsink because I'll show you, well, yeah, I'll show you this when I pull it out. I think it's clipping onto this. There may not be enough leverage for that. We'll find out shortly here. And that that heatsink and fan was actually an aftermarket heatsink and fan, period correct, apparently, that I picked up on eBay before. Because again, the one I got did not come with anything like that, so it was kind of important to throw a heatsink on that. It was just the die was exposed. I'm like, yeah, we probably want to have a heatsink on that bad boy. I'm just going to go ahead and give the contacts here a quick clean since this is a slot cartridge sort of deal. And this is a card from '96. And it's been flying around in the mail and stuff, so we don't know. Okay, we gave the contacts a quick clean. There wasn't a whole lot of dirt here. There's really dusty around the outsides of it. I didn't really feel like trying to unmount the heatsink here or anything. Again, because I'm just sort of cleaning up the contacts. As you can see, for those of you who don't know, CPU itself, it's literally using like a cartridge slot sort of design to plug right into the board. Nothing too crazy. And it makes for easy mounting and dismounting. So we'll go ahead and pull the power cable for the fan and pull the CPU right out. So this is what the Pentium 2 350 I have is. Again, aftermarket cooler here. Uses like these little pins that come out the back of it and this little locking mechanism to hold it in place. This also works with the Pentium 3. I had tried that previously. The fan itself appears to mount in with these on these little ledges here. You see there's little you might see there's little teeth here. Let me see if I can get a better view. So you see there's little ledges right here. There you go, man. Right here that the fan actually clips onto. It's similar to an AMD heatsink. If you ever had to mount those before. But yeah, so that's our little clasp here. These little pins come through the plastic covering here, and these pins are just coming from the actual heatsink itself. Then you turn this to sort of hold it and lock it in place. And that's our fan itself right there. So I will not be able to mount this without doing some hack job thing, but I don't think that'd be necessary either. So back to the PC at hand. Also note that this didn't have the plastic front, so this whole like cartridge part is exposed, unlike what we have here with the 450, which has a plastic enclosure all around the chip. And so this just simply plugs right in. Ta-da! We're done. And we've also increased the weight of the machine significantly. This is a much hardier heatsink, definitely. Also note, I can actually show the product here that I'm using. This is a SATA to IDE bridge board adapter. You have your IDE interface here, and then your SATA interface right here. Oh no, luckily you don't have to blow it. How about that? Cartridges have come a long way. But this adapter itself allows for optical and physical drives to swap between the two interfaces depending on what you're looking to do. And there's little jumpers on the board here in this back corner to allow to switch between either the drive being SATA or IDE and swapping between whatever interface you want. I have that plugged up to right here with my CD drive. Thus, I can use a modern SATA CD-ROM drive to have more durability for this machine overall for the optical drive. I didn't want to have to go spend more money on an IDE drive that may or may not wear out pretty quickly. Beyond that, the board's been good. It's been a good machine so far. Thumbs up. Anywho, now that the CPU is in, this particular board does automatic timing adjustments for the CPU, so I don't have to move any jumpers or anything. That also means, based on BIOS, unfortunately with the automated frontside bus timings and all that, I don't have an option of, say, manually underclocking a chip. So unless I get some updated BIOS to do that, I'm stuck with whatever the board lets me use. In this particular case, there's an older revision of the BIOS on here that actually underclocked chips that had a higher frontside bus, like my Pentium 3, so I could have used that for a slightly higher performance. Since I can't do that, I end up, well, now with the current BIOS version, it just won't boot. It won't post if you have a differing frontside bus for the CPU. So I have to go with 100 megahertz, hence why this chip should work. And there won't be any issues whatsoever. But yeah, we'll get a quick view of the front here. This is the front of the system itself. Let me get, let's see what I have here. Where did I put that? Here we go. And we'll see here we have again our CD-ROM drive. This is a more modern floppy disk drive I got from Sam a while back. It has built-in USB controller stuff for like a SD card reader and such. None of that works because this board doesn't have those headers, but the floppy drive is nice and sturdy. Again, also have some front panel stuff. None of this works right now because none of the front panel headers beyond button are actually available on this board because it's a proprietary Dell board. But this is the basic design. It's got some intake sections right here along these ridges and here to allow for air to come in. There's no mounting points for fans, which is sort of unfortunate, but again on the side we have these holes here that allow for various sizes of fans. You can see the different mounting reference points here. But this machine itself has not had heat issues. Everything runs pretty cool on it. It's the XP machine that's giving me those issues. And on the back here then we have our basic back panel look. Power supply. We have PS2 ports, USB 1.0, printer, serial, game port, and integrated sound, which works really wonky. My system was actually locking up when I had this driver set. There we go. I'll get this back up. So I end up putting the dedicated card down here, which again has game port, mic in, line in, and audio out. Here's our 52FX graphics card with S-Video and with VGA, and then our Ethernet 10/100. Fairly basic power supply was your nickname in high school. Because you always wanted to plug. This class is brought to you by Hondy Bushman. Alright. But now let's get this computer put back in place. Camera, you need to go somewhere else. You'll stay there for now. Alright, and where did I put the other CPU at? Oh, there it is. Okay, we're good. Sam was audio out. Okay. Just like that, computer's plugged back up. No, Dave actually took that thin tower case. I think he built a different machine with that, which I am okay with because that case was very difficult to work with. It was cool that I built something into it. The man was that difficult to work with. Then you gotta look at the whole room right now. I got my preview monitor, my fill light with light, primary monitor and secondary monitor up here for preview stuff, mic, computer chair, belly, secondary chair, bank. Right now all the project stuff I'm looking at for other streams and content on this table here. And we're looking at, like, here's the test bench I showed earlier in Discord, all the Madden materials I have, and fitness materials. This is the pile of games I have to put on the backloggery still. And I got more DOS games I'm looking at down below the table. But that's also my main workbench for some soldering stuff I have to do real quick, like, when that comes up. I also hope this thing posts. If not, then we'll be sad panda. Let's see. Get this here. That's decent right now. Let's flip back to our widescreen. So, let's see if this thing posts. Should, right? No problems. We're going to have 0 issues. I don't anticipate any issues. It's going to be perfect. Hey, posts. Waiting for my display to come up. Any day now, RGB. Come on. Yep, 450. Okay, cool. It takes a little bit for my monitor to refresh compared to the capture. I wasn't too worried. I had confidence in this chip. Nothing seemed damaged on it. It's hard to screw up a chip like that. We're not like doing the funky stuff I was doing the other night with that RAID controller that has its own separate BIOS and alarm bells that you can't turn off through your normal BIOS, so it's just constantly screaming at me. Apparently whoever used that RAID controller last had a particular configuration still set. They couldn't find the physical disk, so it's like, you can't find them! And it constantly beeps until you go into the net BIOS of the device, and it was just loud and obnoxious. But yeah. Anywho, so it boots. That's good. But now we can do benchmarks. Yeah! Yeah, Couch Patch Kids! Let's go! That 98 startup music, so good. I still love that background though. That is an awesome background for a machine like this. Baldur's Gate 2 is well deserved. I need to have some more time to play it, but it will get finished. That game is really good. It probably won't get done for NFGL, but it will get done at some point. Go ahead and get rid of that install there. We're going to go ahead and do 3D Mark. Now I'm assuming having multiple instances of command prompt up weren't taxing my CPU too much, so it won't influence that poorly. I'm hoping. That's going to be dependent on your motherboard mostly. You shouldn't have to do anything in terms of timing adjustments or anything yourself. It should auto-detect though, yeah. And that's going to be, you'll be looking at your motherboard first to see if it's going to be able to read the RAM, because it might have capacity limits, speed limits, timing limits, things like that. And then your OS, based on how it's reading that, will have some... might have some limitations. With Windows 10, you shouldn't have an issue. We're in 64-bit processors now, so I mean, you're not going to hit a limit anytime soon. My Windows 7 machine, it's running 32 gigs right now of DDR3. So I don't know how much RAM you intend on throwing in your machine, but I mean, there's guys who are running 128 gigs. I think you'll be all right. Okay, there you go. Yeah, just throw 32 gigs on that bad boy. Run Project Cars and be happy. All right, so we're going to benchmark now with our new processor. Let's bring up our previous values so we remember what these were. Just like that. Just like that. And throw this back into 4.3 mode. And we're going to run this bad boy. It's going to be great. That better be great. And I wonder if we're not going to see too much of a difference in some of these tests, maybe more of some of the CPU-dependent games that we were running, if we'll see the biggest jump in performance, if any. Falcon Northwest. Legendary. They had a good thing going. They can't change that now, right? Now, one thing I could do as well, Sam, I could swap out the heatsink and fan, or the heatsink on the 450 and put this one on there if I wanted to. That's a possibility. And then I could just, I don't know what that's for. There's a little bracket here or something. I don't know what that's for. But that would probably involve removing the back panel on this one here, so I can have the pilot holes for the aftermarket cooler. We'll see. I don't think I will. There's no case fans in that machine though. That's part of it. So there's no airflow going through there. It's all got to just radiate off of that metal, and that's it. So if that all works fine, cool. In your opinion, as a wizard, in your opinion. Is that what wizards do? Do wizards get to say, in my opinion? They're like, I'm magic, so whatever. Right, right. And again, that's probably not even going to be honestly, that's probably not going to be an option on this board, so I don't even have to worry about it. A lot of the games I'm looking at that I really want to run on this are probably going to be DOS games that need to have a lower clock speed, if anything. Which I have CPU killer for the Windows apps, like Magic the Gathering and such. But we start looking at, yeah, again, DOS applications. We're going to want something adjusting that in DOS as well if we can. That pretty lady's got a dragon. That's pretty cool. If you're running this on a Falcon, it's done by now. Frame rate is life. I think this demo's running a bit quicker. I think. Might be talking crazy, I don't know. I know there's the high detail version too, but... Is this Huddleston? Is this how Huddleston wins games? Oh my god. Huddleston is the Matrix. Truth. In a completely unrelated comment, you guys remember Max Payne? Just saying. Okay, back to this. Da 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 ba da ba da beep bop ba doo da ba ba. So pretty. Pretty cool. So Andy, for your motherboard, what speed of RAM does it support? Or what RAM standards does it support? Oh snap! Your K6s with your K-Swisses? You so cool. So retro. You know, watch us get like a lower 3D Mark score. Just watch. It'll be amazing. Look at all them bumps. On this throne of bumps I got. Oh my god. We got more bumps. Oh my god. And vertex shaders. Okay. Time to look things up. Oh, really? That is pretty sweet. It makes sense. That's a pretty cool thing to check out these phones. I'll have to see how mine benchmarks. I'm very curious how this one holds up to other phones of the same ilk, of a similar ilk. I just want to say ilk. Okay. We found Joe board. Sort of. Let's see. He sends an X though. I don't want the X. No, sir. C77. Okay, yeah, let's see what New Egg says about it. Oh yeah, if there are any kind of CPU upgrades you're looking for as well, Andy, there is a computer recycle shop near me. They might have some really cheap parts. Like they charge by the core for the CPUs. So you might be able to get like a pretty awesome processor really cheap, or even some other components if you need them. All right, so using DDR3 in this. Probably running 1600. Okay, cool. Cool beans. Very cool. How many slots? 4 slots, okay. So like 8 gig sticks. Alright, cool. Sure does. Oh, look at that sick increase! Well, I can keep an eye out now that I know your socket. I can stop by. It's called Free Geek. I guess it's a franchise of some sort. I've heard of other Free Geek places like in Canada and such. But they pretty much, they get rid of e-waste by taking in old computers and things like that. There's a lot of newer parts that do show up there. I did see one aftermarket heatsink and cooler that, for the socket 7. Yes, because of the one I turned in with the old socket 7, so that should be there. Okay. I can keep an eye out and see if there's anything around there. Good news, though. Hey, guys. Our score increased. So that means something worked, right? 2,241 3D marks. Huge 3D marks. The best. All right. So that's done. Thanks, 3D Mark 2001. Appreciate it. You're a good guy. Oh, I should do. Well, I'll do it at the end. I'll bring up CPU-Z at the end here. Okay, so we want to go to MS Prompt. I gotcha. That is very fair. Let's see here. Yeah, see, there you go. So that's the franchise that's in my area. They had a lot of stuff, and they're like literally, yeah, go ahead, just look around, see what you want. Like, okay, so I'm just digging through bins and using their tools and everything. I love the place. I was like, this is amazing. This is exactly where I want to be. They take volunteers to help as well for technical stuff, so I might look into that. That might be a kind of a cool, because I need more hobbies and activities. But I might look into that as well. That's Turok. And then what do I need for my params again for that? Oh, that wasn't it. Come on. Dang gummit. Okay, so that was I think it was time demo all drivers. Yeah, Portland's all right. A lot of flannel. Nope, that wasn't it. Damn it. That's benchmark, that's what it is. Dang it. Yeah. You can see how well the menu's loaded nicely. Got my command wrong, though. You're not going to have a history of my commands? Oh, it's lame. Whatever. Alright. This should be the command I'm looking for. Yep. Alright. Hey, I remembered it. How about them apples? Thinking now. It's thinking. That's even loud on my TV, man. This is a loud game. Which I guess isn't a bad thing, but... Yeah, I did notice there's a lot of Intel stuff lying about. The stuff I was looking for was like... well, when I went there, I was looking for... I haven't looked at what kind of... CPUs they have in the 478 socket, so I need to check that out for myself. So if they have like an Extreme Edition line around, that'd be pretty cool to pick up. Because again, they charge by the core, so I'd be paying like $5 for it. So like, say if I find an 8-core chip for you for whatever reason, Andy, it'd be like $40. You know, it's super cheap. I don't know what they like. I don't think they have any really great video cards. I think those get trolled through pretty thoroughly by people. But CPUs, I think there'll be some options there. I know they'll definitely have a cooler for you, Sam, because they'll be the cooler I donated. So I'll be buying that cooler again. That's what's gonna happen. What else? I didn't check out any of the RAM options. I know there's some memory lying about. There's a lot of power supplies. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Love you, buddy. Jess is going to bed. Are you looking at SSDs? Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam. Like, when I was looking at eSATA before, or no, you look at mSATA. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know anything about mSATA. I never really looked at that. Oh, just so it's like a smaller, like you said, smaller form factor. Yeah, smaller form factor. Okay, I like them for mobile devices. Got it, or for laptop devices. So is it kind of like a good comparison would be what they did with IDE before? Would that be fair to say? Yeah, and is there a... Do you have like specific mounting points in your case for SSDs or any kind of small form factor devices beyond like the front panel stuff? Like I've seen, like I don't know what your case looks like, but I know there's cases now that have mounting points on the bottom of the case and on the sides and such. So you're saying you're like an expert in mSATA then, Sam? Like you've seen it all. Okay. Sam is an expert. We now know. Okay. Yeah, I've seen some really cool cases now. Like all my cases have been like mid ATX or smaller cases. I've never really gotten a nice large case to work with. Hence like the XP machine probably could use that. But I think the next case I want to have one that has those multiple mounting points for hard drives. So it's not all like in the front rack, but I have one like sitting at the bottom of the case next to the board and stuff like that, and have a lot more space to work with for airflow, like cables. Hey Sarah. We got a guest pup here for the weekend. Sarah returns from Mr. James. M2's a faster data transfer. Okay. So far we've seen an increase in our frames per second. I think we were at about 46. So we've done about 4 frames in Turok. That's not bad. So I'm assuming that'd be like a slot that'd be available on some other boards. Otherwise, you'd probably get like an expansion card or something to read that M2 standard. We're getting some hitches in the game, like in some really tense moments, but it's not unplayable. Sam's Google Foo is strong. Oh, can we get an average of 50? Can we get an average of 50? Oh, we can get this average right now, 50. Can we keep that up? I want to see some bigger numbers. Big numbers mean good things. The Firefox gets you every time. Now you should do what Dad does. He uses the Foxfire. Have you tried using Foxfire? I'm pretty sure Foxfire has better Google support. That's what I've heard. Oh no! You haven't seen my face watching on the screen. Oh, okay. Just the windows? Okay. Yeah. Did you try unplugging the windows and plugging the windows back in? Also, now you know how to benchmark with Turok Dinosaur Hunter if you ever want to. And it's a mildly entertaining benchmark to look at. The weapons are cool, there's lots of explosions and everything. Oh, good point. Good point, so that's good advice there. Yeah, open the windows. Alright, so 52.2 is the verdict. Cool. Which that is actually a big jump from average. That's pretty dang good. That's a wizard question, Andy. Sam, can you answer that? That sounds like a wizard question. I don't know anything about creatures. If you're talking about retail, I can help. If you need to save money and live better, I could probably help with that. Let's do... Okay. Let's see. We got... Yeah, it's called the ultimate, that's what it is. And then it should be Doom 95. Oh, dang, what did I put for this before? Dang gummit, what do I use for this? Not M, that's what it was, okay. And what did I use for this before? That was... Did I use demo 3? Was that what I used? Or was it demo 1? Alright, that was demo 1, cool. The humor is too thick and I love it. Unless my computer had dip switches, because you can switch on the dip for the chips. Now am I supposed to get dip? Time to go to our calculator to calculate this. So it's going to be 1710 divided by 1692. That times 35, I think it was. Yeah, it's 35, okay. We got 35, so we saw a slight improvement in frames in Doom. We actually got up to the frames per frame cap, so that's cool. We'll call it 3.7 there. Who would have thought Doom was one of the more demanding tests? How about them apples? Okay. Or at least Doom 95, because Doom 95 runs like junk. I guess Quake 2, and then we got... This is demo map, demo 1 dot DM2. Okay. I guess, are there any differences in the products you're looking at in terms of the number of writes and reads it's rated for before the drive is dead? So we're hoping we might get above 10 frames. Maybe.
Recon data indicates access.
12.4 frames. All right. So that's our final results there, folks. It is running a bit faster. There is a noticeable difference. I would say a clear difference. You're sold. The Pentium 450 is what you're looking for now. Pentium 2, 450 megahertz. I understand. It's a pretty powerful chip. Kind of the best in the business. You know, widescreen, making commands. Oh, you know what? I want to put you back on 4.3. Now I'm going to take you back to widescreen. There we go. That's what we got for results, though. So we had some noticeable differences. I mean, if we want to look at percentages real quick, we can do that. That's not what I wanted. This is going to be our baseline here. And for percent change, we're just going to take new over original. So go with 2241 divided by 2022. So we're looking at a which isn't really a percent change, but actually, what would be the best way? This I don't want to do it like this. It's not how I want to do it. I want to do it as another column. So we're looking at we'll call it change factor. That's what I want. That's what really what I'm calculating here is a change factor. We'll call it change fac. What's the factor of our change here? 0.08. We'll just take it to 1,000th spot. And it's going to be 52 point, wrong app. 2 divided by 41.6. 1.255. We'll round up. Yes. I just wanted to come up with a dirty change factor here. So, okay. Fine, Sam. We won't look at the delta changes here. We'll look at what you want to look at. If I put in the right application here. All right. I'm not even putting the right values in. Dang on it. Wrong app. here. That's what we want. That's what we want. Keep flipping around different windows here. It's messing me up. Kind of liked my figures better with what I was calculating. But whatever. So. Anyway, so what we're looking at here. Catch you on some of the chat real quick. Right, I realize that, yeah. Anywho, so. Yeah, there was a different figure I was going for that, but if you find this factor more helpful, we can definitely go this route. So, absolutely, we can do that. Let's see what you're going for now. So, this is 3 there. Just say that's a full time. Of course, it's a 5. And that's going to be 16.9. And if we want to say real dirty, not really accurate at all. Which is not really a great factor, or not really great average to take, because we're using very irregular tests here, or benchmarks in this case. And so, average change we saw amongst our tests, 13% increase. Cool beans. That's what we got. So, conclusions to draw. I think partly it's with the software that we have running on Windows 98 and with the devices we have. You're seeing the dependencies that these pieces of software have on our different components, how those dependencies are playing out here, right? Where Turok, my best guess on why we saw the highest percentage of change there was that I'm not using a particular, I'm not using a particular card that the engine is expecting. So it's probably using a generic interface with 3D, Direct 3D, as well as the biggest bottleneck was probably the CPU in that case. So, you fix the bottleneck, you see the biggest change. I'd attribute that to 3D Mark as well, to an extent. I still wonder how much of an influence the AGP 2X slot is playing a role in terms of throughput of the graphics card that I have in there, just because, again, it's a lower threshold of transfer rate of data through that slot. Doom, Or at least Doom 95. Let's be real about this. This isn't Doom. This is Doom 95 that we're testing here. Doom 95. I mean, there's issues with Doom 95 and Windows 98, Windows 95, and Windows XP in terms of efficiency, in terms of even saw with loading particular effects like the invisibility effects that there are bugs with the actual source loader for or the WAD loader slash. I mean, technically, it's a kind of a different engine that Doom 95. Doom 95 is technically a different engine, technically, but either way, you see that a lot of those inefficiencies come out. So we saw. I would attribute that mostly to the smallest amount of change. There's other issues going on with that engine running on this system configuration. Quake 2. I think you would also see a much larger jump once we would go to a better graphics card, or probably even a slot and interface that would have a higher throughput of data to have the engine take full advantage of what the game could actually do. I don't remember the CPU requirements being super high on Quake 2. I mean, it's still very possible that's a bottleneck there. I don't know much about the 52FX card in and of itself. It was a cheaper card I can throw in here as an upgrade compared to the previous video card I had. It's possible too. I guess you definitely would have a higher dependency on the CPU if you're using the software renderer. That's very true. In fact, if we want to right now, we could even just do a quick little test here. I mean, we have the ability. Yeah, it's not requiring a whole lot. Actually, for somewhat. We got excellent OpenGL support. As you can see, a lot of the extensions load up just fine. And oh shoot, I keep on messing that up. Wrong engine, Chris. DM2 is what we run in Quake 2. If I can spell right too. Red's a little faster, huh? So you're saying we throw everything on the CPU, it runs a little slower. 38 frames a second. A little bit of a difference there, huh? That was kind of curious, though, because it looked like that ran much quicker than 38 frames a second. Right? I mean, does that look like 38 frames a second to you? Yeah, one would say that, huh? Alright, I have a disk in there. So, but I'm happy with how we ran the test with the software renderer. I think it showed some... It definitely introduced more bottlenecks into the test. I don't know. Well, again, think about what we did with enabling OpenGL. It still runs 33 frames a second. I wonder if like those well, I mean, obviously it wasn't running very well with the software renderer, but I mean, you saw again how that time demo just ran, and it said 33 frames a second average. It looked like it was speeding through much of that demo. So, I don't know. Anyway, it's some sort of value. We can take it as that. So, I don't know. Either way, yeah, we did some calculations there. Hooray. And we got some numbers with how this differs. How the system changes and performance changes based on swapping out the CPUs here. Definitely would want to also evaluate our benchmarks themselves, see what's going to work better, what's going to be worse. I think Turok was a nice example of if I would say more reliable benchmark. Like it looks like Quake 2, the frames per second reading didn't make a whole lot of sense. And then Doom 95 just runs like crap. I think there are other Doom engine WAD loaders that leverage Direct 3D more so, which then you get varying performance based on the GPU you have in there. And then Turok. Yeah, it was a solid benchmark to use. So we'll see what else we can use in the future here. But that's about it. That's the hardware change. I will go ahead and save that. So, yep, that's it. So, I'm good for tonight. I have to get some other stuff done. So, thanks for showing up, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening. It's been late night updates again. Take her easy.